Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Cypher from Siphon TCT. And ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to finally start getting back on that content grind. There's no time like the present. I told myself I needed to get it done, and here we are. For those who are from the Fresh Milk community, my name's Siphon. Prominent Magic player, probably the best Magic player you've ever seen. Best Pokemon player you've ever... I'm not doing another take, I'm gonna be real with you. This is not the greatest intro to me, but hey, you're gonna learn rule number one. We don't do redos here. I did it. I stuttered. We're doing it. All right, but let's just get into this deck tech, man. I ain't gonna try to be funny and wish I was Tom, bro. But this is for my baby Isylander, man. Got my code for Isylander. I don't know how well you guys can see it with how I have the setup, but I've been waiting for Isylander to come out in CC for the longest time. And finally here in the Uprising meta. As of today, sadly today's the 17th. Uprising is being delayed till July 1st. You know, sobs all around. But that's alright. That's not gonna stop us from, you know, getting a little early testing done and kind of getting a head start above our competition. So what we're gonna do is I've already written a guide up on FAB database, and I will link that in the description if you guys ever want to read it. But I'll be reading and speaking from it as well as soon as we get done. Just talk a little more loosely about everything. I just want to give guys a basic introduction to Isylander and how it's going to be in CC. Alright. Starting with Isylander Stormring. For those who do not know what Isylander does, I do not blame you, since it's primarily just been a promo card from Everfest and being in Blitz to the competitive audience. I understand why, again, a lot of you guys don't know. Isylander is an elemental wizard. Comes in with 4 intelligence, 36 life. It's a wizard, we always start a little bit lower. Essence of Ice, so you can have ice cards in the deck. Isylander reads, if it is not your turn, you may play blue non-attack action cards from your arsenal as though they were an instant. Pretty good. Second thing Isylander does. Whenever you play an ice card during an opponent's turn, grab a Frostbite. That's pretty good. You know, you kind of see where this inbuilt synergy is already there. Most of your blue non-attack action cards are going to be ice cards. So basically what this reads is you can play a ice card on your turn as long as it's a blue stripping and create a Frostbite. Pretty good rate. It's I think it definitely hits above its weight class when it comes to efficiency from the hero zone. I compare this to things like Briar. Briar rewards you for just playing the game. Isylander is just rewarding you for playing the game. Compared to something like Prism, for example. Prisms are going to need, you know, things in the soul, and then it's going to need stuff to pitch. So you're going to have to work it more. Isylander will just get value as long as you build your deck in a certain way and then play a certain way. Alright, so we're going to start with general play. The goal of Isylander is to put your opponent on a clock, but not the clock that you're thinking of. Not a clock as in I will kill you. This is a clock in as in you need to kill me or I'll burn you. In some matches you actually can fatigue. I don't think it will be often, but you can get in scenarios where you can fatigue someone. We as the control deck aim to slow down their clock. How? Frostbites, you ask. Frostbites. What are Frostbites? Frostbites is generally just the next action that you're doing is going to cost 1 more. And that's why Islander's big special thing that she can do is she can make Frostbites. Frostbites tax the resources and sometimes combo with arcane damage in certain situations. We also use discard spells and equipment removal to both offensive and defensive tools. New to Uprising, we have the freeze and frozen mechanic. Basically, this renders whatever we freeze or what is frozen useless. It cannot be activated, it cannot be used in any kind of way. It's pretty good. This is going to prevent a lot of allies and equipment from being involved in the battle. Sometimes we can free things in Arsenal against aggro decks, and that makes their 5-card hand a 4-card hand, which against decks like Briar, you know, really nice. I do feel like this is Flesh and Blood's real control deck. Like, we've had Control Prism, we've had Control Odom, but I think these have been more fatigue and just slower, more mid-range. I feel like Isylander is true in nature, if you are a Magic player, this is your Blue-White X control. This is your draw go style kind of deck. Well, what are some of the key cards in this deck? The first big point I do want to hit on is Krakens versus Warning Moon. I believe in the majority of matchups, Moon is better as a weapon. The 3 Arcane is an amazing rate. But considering it's at instant speed, it raises its stock a little bit. But that being said, the games where Kraken is good, Kraken is really good. For those who know what Kraken does, Kraken is pay 3, 1 Arcane, draw a card. Pretty simple, but in the totality of what that actually does, I think it's pretty good. Being able for, again, free every single turn, just to cycle a card. I do go about it here. Kraken is really good in the matchups where we're digging for specific cards. That is unfortunate. You're digging for very specific cards. This allows you to constantly keep turning and turning on your deck because on your turn, you can do it, draw a card, arsenal, draw up, pass, do it on the opponent's turn, all while doing arcane damage, which is very, very nice actually. Because it's also very small arcane damage, it's less likely to get blocked. And what I mean is, if I'm just picking you for 1 arcane, are you really going to want to take a card to your hand to prevent 1 arcane? Probably not. So, next card I want to talk about is Brain Freeze. Brain Freeze is a card that I definitely feel like people should be talking about, but no one is. I'll highlight it all over here. Brain Freeze. 0 Ice Fusion. Target opponent reveals their hand. Already, I think, a fantastic card. Even though it does not have Go Again, which is one of its big drawbacks, I already think this card is just amazing. If it's fused, then you can then put in an action card, just any action card, with 2 or less from their hand on top of their deck. I think as a control player, I think this is probably one of the best things we could have ever seen. And I do mean that. We already talked about how we can freeze things in Arsenal and shut down some of these aggro decks. Now imagine freezing things in Arsenal and then taking cards away from their hand. We're already taxing them with Frostbites. We're already taxing them with Channel Lake. Now we're removing cards from their hand and getting information on their hand and stacking the top of their deck to the point where then next turn we have even more information. I think this card is amazing. Now I think the only downside is because we're only running reds, we can never do this on the opponent's turn. But I do think that is fine, more often times than not. And again, the other downside is it does not have natural go again, and it being limited to 2 or less. In some matchups, I can see where that doesn't look fantastic to most people. But what I think what this card is meant to do is just to give the information, and against a lot of these like decks that require multiple cards to be synergistic with each other, like for Fi, you need Draconic Chain Links to be able to pop off. If you take a card of their hand and enter a Draconic card, they're less likely to be able to rupture and then do all the other stuff with their Draconic stuff. Again, I think it's amazing. Like I said, the yellow and the blue aren't fantastic because they hit less. So cool, I'm just going to yawn this onto our deck tech. Unfortunate. But yeah, like I said, I think Red Brain Freeze is amazing. Coco. Command and Conquer. It does not fit into our general game plan of wanting to be disruptive on the opponent's turn and tax them. At the same time, it is a hard 6 that limits interaction. And that can touch Arsenal. I think Command and Conquer, until proven otherwise, I definitely think Command and Conquer should just go in most decks. It's just good, especially with Prism running around and these illusions running around. I definitely think Coco's at an all-time high right now. And the other cool thing is, if we're playing on a Channel Lake turn, being able to pitch for 2, like pitch a red, like 2 red ice cards is nice for your Channel Lake. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Nourishing Emptiness, which is a card that, and I do give the shout to Hometown TCG, that they showed me this, and I didn't know this card existed until the deck. And when I put the first few lists in, and I was making them, I was drafting, I was like, this deck is currently lacking a Tide Swinger. Like, what card can I play that says I am now in control of this game? You need to react to this right now. Yada yada yada. We technically do have like disruptive cards that do that, but none that apply pressure. Like for example, when Starvo plays Crippling Crush, the game is now like, you need to do something. Like, this Crippling Crush is on the stack, something needs to be done in response, or bad things will happen. Prism, for example, when Prism plays multiple Heralds in one turn, that will require action. You're not just going to be this like, yeah, that's cool. You cannot do that. And I think Nourishing Impetus is not on that level, as in like flashy. What I think this is doing. No, I'm just showing more and more often now. I think what this is doing is, it's a decent setup. So this is 6 Dominate. The condition for it to be Dominate is you have to have no attack action cards in your graveyard. More often, I feel in 90% of games, probably 95, you'll meet this requirement. So it's 6 Dominate. Already starting off pretty good for 2. Okay, you know what? I can get down. If it hits, and more often times than not, it will hit, unless they used equipment. Prism used like a D-React, Guardians use a D-React. More often times than not, this is going to hit. You get +1 intellect. That is a control deck, now drawing 5 cards on the end step. If you're a control player in almost any other TCG, you understand the importance of card advantage and card quantity. So again, I think Nourishing Impetus, even as a one-of, I think it's fantastic. The turns that you play it and it hits, you're going to feel amazing. And if you don't ever see it, it's not. I don't think you care. At worst, it just pitches for red. I still think you're fine. I swear to you, I was literally not yawning like 10 minutes ago. I really was not. I don't know what's happening. Alright, last big card that I want to talk about is Frost X. And again, I will scroll down here for you guys to see it. I think one of the coolest things about Frost X, and it slowly became one of my favorite cards, is it is another card that requires action, but action in a different way. So what now happens? Every single turn for the rest of the game, I'm going to give you Frostbites. You have 2 options. 1, you overpitch your hand to get rid of the Frostbites, so you're losing cards and losing, you know, the threats on your turn to be able to play the game. Which is, okay, fine. A lot of decks can be like, okay, I lose the next card, so I can do my thing. That's cool. Well, then I win the card advantage race. And then that fatigue plan kind of comes on. Or 2, what happens? They physically cannot do anything because of the Frostbites. Now, these Frostbites, instead of just being, haha, disruption, it's now, haha, I'm going to burn you. So think of a scenario where you have 2 Frost Hexes on your opponent's field, and you're giving them 2 Frostbite a turn. There's a few different ways you can give them multiple Frostbite a turn. Let's just say you're giving them 2 Frostbite a turn. Unless they're able to get rid of both of those, they're going to start being burnt for 2. And then 4 and 6, and like depending on like how many Frostbites you're getting, if they're able to do it, there's times where you can just, this will be the card that kills them. It requires action, which I think is one of the best things as a control deck, and Flesh and Blood specifically, is most of our deck is just dirtle, but this allows us to dirtle, because this will have the action for us. So on turns where we're not, you know, using our weapon to deal arcane damage, or we're not playing an attack, if we're just solely choosing to disrupt, this can still be that weapon ability that we didn't use. You know, if you guys are kind of understand what I'm saying. This might be my favorite card in the deck. Like, I think one of the cool things is your opponent does blase blase whatever they want to do, and they're like, all right, close chain, move to arsenal, and you're like, Frost X. Unless they now will do something, which if they've already spat out their whole entire hand, well, now they're getting the frostbite guaranteed, and now you're gonna start burning them. This can be very interesting actually. You can get into this little mind game where genuinely you are going to want to do stuff at the start of your opponent's turn to like disrupt them, but if you're able to combine Frost Hex with actual disrupt arcane damage, just from like your attacks, you can get to a point where you can actually burn your opponent down fairly quickly. So again, Frost Hex, something to look out for. Some key cards arsenal I put down here is Aether Ice Fang, Arctic and Canation, Chilling Lake Frigid, Aromatic Scolding, Frost Hex, and Winter's Bite. Winter's Bite being one of my favorite things to actually arsenal. It's just the turns where they're like, alright, I'm going to pitch to play this card, and you're like, alright, in response, give you a Frostbite, make you discard a card. And now they have one card in hand, and probably no resource floating. That is great. I love that. I want more of that. And right below this, I'll be completely honest, I'm not going to go over all of this. This is a sideboard guide. I do recommend that you just read all this, because it goes into the exact ratios. So unlike a lot of players, I don't have the deck core and I just put the cards in. I have our general 60, and then our sideboard, just like traditional TCGs, and I take cards in, take cards out. Pretty simple. This guide is accurate as of 6/14/22, by the way. This could be a year from now, 6 months from now. Stuff like here could change. Who knows? But as of right now, this is where I like the deck. I'm excited for Isylander. Where does she rank? Who knows? We'll be doing a tier list later on today. And I think that's all I got. Thank you guys for watching this. If you guys are on Twitch, make sure you guys hit that follow button. I am on the road to affiliate currently. As of right now, I am 6 followers away. You could be that one stepping stone that helps me get the affiliate. Help me out. If you're on YouTube, make sure you guys like, favorite, and subscribe. Comment down below what you guys want to see. Like I said, I'm happy to be here in the Flesh and Blood community. I'm ready, man. I've been loving this. If you guys seen my welcome to Flesh and Blood video, that should be posted down below. If it's not, it should be in the link. You should be able to find it somewhere. I'm excited, man. I've had some of the most fun with TCGs probably of my entire life. I've probably never had more fun. Mostly because, like I said, I'm learning still. It's fresh and it's unique. It has everything I'm looking for, and I finally have a control deck as a control mage. I finally have my blue-white control. I am ecstatic. Like I said, here's my precious that will be unveiled soon. I probably will just completely cold foil out this deck. By the way, I am just that excited. Like I said, that's been your boy Siphon from Siphon CCG. Peace.